I've often felt a twinge of envy when I read how directly God communicates with the Israelites in the Hebrew scriptures. In the verses just before today's passage, Moses and God are having a kind of back and forth conversation, something that seems so natural in the biblical world. While I do have experiences of God's presence in my life, I've never heard a voice booming from the heavens. And that's why I'm so grateful for Ignatian spirituality. It teaches us that God speaks in more subtle, everyday ways, through our desires, our emotions, our relationships, and even our surroundings. And that's why today's passage from Exodus is so great, often called the Great Theophany. Here God is revealed not in a whisper or vision, but in thunder, lightning, and fire on the mountain. The Israelites tremble as they encounter the sheer magnitude of God's presence. That feels more relatable, because even if we've never heard God's voice directly, most of us have been struck by the awe of God in nature. A few weeks ago, my family was eating dinner when a thunderstorm rolled in. After a huge crack of thunder, the lights over our table flickered, and my 2-year-old dropped what he was holding and looked around wide-eyed for reassurance. His 5-year-old brother gladly gave it to him and said, "It's okay, Ira. Grandma told me thunder is just God bowling." Nature humbles us. It reminds us of how small we are and how vast the world is. It's a physical kind of fear of the Lord, not terror, but awe. The kind of reverence that reminds us we're not the center of the story. Like God said to Job, "Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth?" There's nothing like a mountain or the ocean or the star-filled sky to help us regain perspective. I grew up at the base of South Mountain in Phoenix, Arizona, and some of my favorite memories are hiking to the top with my dad, looking out across the valley and seeing who could spot our tiny little house first. Up there, it was quiet and peaceful. I could see so far, and it reminded me as a child that my life, my family, was just one part of God's immense and beautiful creation. It strikes me that when the Israelites encountered God at Mount Sinai, they were 3 months into what would become a long, uncertain journey through the wilderness. They had left behind what was familiar, albeit hard, in Egypt, but the promised land was still far off. They were in between, disoriented, vulnerable, and not yet sure who they were becoming. And it was in that moment that God chose to meet them. That's such an important reminder for us in our own seasons of transition or instability, whether we're adjusting to a new job, grieving a loss, entering parenthood, navigating a health diagnosis, sending a child off to college, or just adjusting to the world around us. These in-between times can be disorienting, but they can also be sacred. Like the Israelites, we need our own mountaintops, places that help us remember who God is and who we are. We need moments that ground us in the bigger picture, that give us perspective, and that reconnect us to God's presence. So today, find your mountain, whatever that looks like for you. A place of quiet, a space of perspective, a glimpse of the divine. Because in every wilderness, God still desires to meet us.